morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Kent. I'm Reverend Stephen, minister of this congregation. Thank you for joining us as we gather in person and on Zoom. We are a spiritual community that seeks to be diverse and inclusive as we inspire love, work for justice, and grow together in community. All right, as you get settled, I invite you to take a deep breath. Bring yourself to this time and place as we enter into community once again. Let's invite the Spirit to be present among us and open our hearts to life and the gift of this day as we honor Black History Month and we reflect on the life and legacy of Malcolm X. Come, let us worship together.
Our people gonna rise.
Our people gonna rise.
Our people gonna rise. Listen to our cries through the pain and lies. Our people gonna rise. Our people gonna sing.
Our people gonna sing.
Our people gonna sing. In spite of everything, hear our freedom ring. Our people gonna sing. Our people gonna fight. Our people gonna fight for what we know is right. March into the night. Our people gonna fight. Our people gonna breathe. Our people gonna breathe. Our people gonna breathe. Whatever you believe, we have the right to breathe. Our people gonna breathe. Our people gonna pray.
Our people gonna pray.
Our people gonna pray. Take our rights away. See you on election day. Our people gonna pray. Our people gonna rise.
Our people gonna rise.
Our people gonna rise. Listen to our cries through the pain and lies. Our people gonna rise. People gonna rise. Our people gonna rise.
Our
People gonna rise. Our people gonna rise.
Take two. The American poet Stanley Kunitz lived a long and rich life, dying in 2006, a few months shy of his 101st birthday. Kunitz was named Poet Laureate of the United States twice, the second time at age 95. In his late 70s, Kunitz reflected on his life up until that point in his poem entitled The Layers. It's a favorite of mine and begins with these lines. I have walked through many lives, some of them my own, and I am not who I was, though some principle of being abides, from which I struggle not to stray. I am not who I was. In our service today, we reflect on the life of Malcolm X, who was born Malcolm Little in Omaha, Nebraska. Unlike Kunitz, Malcolm X lived just 40 years, and yet in his short life, he might also have written the words, I am not who I was, though some principle of being abides, from which I struggle not to stray. Come to think of it, many of us here today might have written the lines, I am not who I was. It takes both courage and humility to live now fully who you are, with the awareness that life will continue to change you, ready or not, and at times will be invited to set down understandings once cherished, held dear, while struggling not to stray from that principle of being that abides in each of us. I look forward to hearing Pastor Stephen reflect this morning on the life and work of Malcolm X, whose principle of being has too often been misrepresented and misunderstood. So back to Kunitz for a little bit. He ends his poem, The Layers, with these words: "Though I lack the art to decipher it, no doubt the next chapter in my book of transformations is already written. I am not done with my changes." As Unitarian Universalists, we light a flame within a chalice to unite us in worship and to remind us of our ongoing search for the light of truth within us and among us. The chalice is also a light to guide us on our shared journey and a reminder that we are all interconnected in the great web of existence of which we are each a beloved part. As Stella lights our shared chalice, I invite those on Zoom to light your home chalice. Please join me in the words for the chalice lighting, adapted from James Villa Blake. Love is the spirit of this church, and service its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, to help one another, and to bring about the beloved community. Please rise and join in singing our opening hymn, There's More Love Somewhere. The words have been adapted.
There is more love somewhere. There is more love somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more love somewhere. There is more hope somewhere. There is more hope somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more hope somewhere. There is freedom somewhere. There is freedom somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is freedom somewhere. There is justice somewhere. There is justice somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is justice somewhere.
Young and young at heart, if you'd like to move forward for the lesson this morning, I'd be glad to have you. Come on up. Hi. Come on up. All right, so I have a question for you. Do you know what a pilgrimage is? Anybody? A pilgrimage. Anybody know what that means? Okay. Well, a pilgrimage is a journey to a sacred place. Okay? Many believe in cultures, across cultures and religions, that a pilgrimage or a journey can transform a person or change a person. They are opened up to growing and learning, and there's many humans that go on pilgrimages to experience something holy or sacred. So I wanted to show you a couple of ideas about what a pilgrimage looks like on the big world stage. So we're going to look over here, okay? So this is a pilgrimage to a place in Tibet. It's called Mount Kailash. You see the big mountain back here? All along the way, there are these shrines. These are prayer flags that people left on the way to Mount Kailash, around Mount Kailash. So for over thousands of years, people have walked a circle around this giant mountain, okay, because they believe in their religion that it will help to erase their sins. It's a holy pilgrimage site for people who are Hindu, Jain, Bon, or Buddhist. One spot, known as the Shivatzel, has visitors leave mementos, like a lock of hair or a piece of their clothing, as a symbol of the old life that they're going to leave behind when they become new. Pretty interesting. All right, here's another one. So this one is called the Way of St. James, all right? And this ends in France. The Way of St. James is also known as the Camino de Santiago. And it's one of Europe's most famous pilgrimage routes. More than 100,000 people undertake this journey to the resting place, which is right here, the resting place of St. James, every year. It's a very long pilgrimage. This one's 450 miles long. Let's go to the next one. This one is here in the United States, and this one isn't tied to a particular religion. This is the Appalachian Trail, okay? This is commonly called the footpath for the people, and it is 2,180 miles long. It crosses through 14 states with more than 3 million people hiking little segments of it each year. The Appalachian Trail, if you start from the beginning in Maine and go all the way down to Georgia, takes about 5 to 7 months to complete that hike. And each year, thousands of people attempt it, but only about 25% actually make it all the way through. And people who hike the Appalachian Trail often see beautiful, beautiful views like this and come out changed at the end. So today, Reverend Stephen is going to be talking to us about Malcolm X. And guess what? Malcolm X, during his life, went on a pilgrimage. Malcolm X was a minister and a human rights activist during the Civil Rights Movement. And in 1964, he was giving a lot of thought about what was happening in the world and how he was changing and growing, and had converted to Islam. And a big part of that faith is that they at least take one pilgrimage to Mecca in their lifetime, because Mecca is the holy city in Saudi Arabia. So he went to Mecca. And at the center of Mecca is the Kaaba, and this is the holy building in town where people come to pray. And according to Islamic history, the holy Kaaba was built 5,000 years ago by the prophet Ibrahim and his son, the prophet Ishmael. It is the exact point, go ahead to the next slide. It's in the center of town. It is the exact point Muslims pray 5 times a day, and they turn their bodies when they pray to face the Kaaba, wherever they are in the world. I lost my place. Okay, so go ahead to the next one. You see how many people are there? Look at that. Go ahead to the next one. And this is an example of coming to the Kaaba during the COVID-19 pandemic. They were spaced apart, just like we were in here in the church. Do you remember? Yeah. All right. So when Malcolm X returned from his pilgrimage, and by the way, they call it in the Muslim faith a Hajj, okay? He was forever changed. He said, "Never have I witnessed such sincere hospitality and overwhelming spirit of true brotherhood as practiced by people of all colors and races here in this ancient Holy Land." Do you see how everyone's dressed the same as well? They all dress the same so that they're all on the same playing field. They're all equal, right? Isn't that neat? So I have a question for you. Have you ever tried something really, really hard? Yeah. Building a dragon is hard, absolutely.
I was building a Lego building, and I was trying to do a roof with Legos, and it was really hard, and it kept falling apart, especially when I got to the middle. Like, I would be almost done, and then half the roof would fall out.
Yeah, did you finish it? How did it feel when you finished it after all that hard work? Yeah, whoa. Yes, you got through it, right? So I think it feels different when you finish something really hard than when you finish something really easy. What do you think? Yeah. And a pilgrimage is supposed to be hard so that you can challenge yourself. And at the end, you feel like you've accomplished something, just like you did, Katie. At the end of all of that, you accomplished it, right? And it changed you. So, have you ever been on a pilgrimage? Yes? Yes? I know that our youth have. Have you ever been on a pilgrimage? Yeah. I was pointing at Evie. Our youth go on a pilgrimage every summer now, right? They go and they come back changed. If you could go on a pilgrimage, where would you go? These are the things I want you to think about, because I wonder what pilgrimage is calling you. Where do you go to experience the sacred and the holy? Where will you go to be transformed? Let's think about that as we sing our children to their classrooms. This church. Thank you, Elliot. I need to uplift that. Elliot just said this church is where Elliot goes to feel transformed. I agree, same. All right, let's sing the children out to their classrooms. We're gonna do it a cappella today. Go, Danny.
You've got the light of love inside you. Go on your way in peace. So shine that light. This whole world now awaits you. Go on your way in peace. You've got the light of love inside you. Go on your way in peace. So shine that light. This whole world now awaits you. Go on your way in peace. You know we hold you. We hold you. Yes, we hold you.
You don't need to go somewhere far away or exotic to go on a pilgrimage of the Spirit. You can do that right here in silence by turning inward, which we do every week so that we care for our spiritual lives. We make time for stillness, for prayer or reflection, for gratitude, for meditation, or simply being in order to remember who we truly are, to reflect on our lives, and to connect with the sacred mystery that is the very heart of life itself. So let's enter stillness for a time now and turn inward. Things happen in life, things break, things fall apart. We experience struggles and losses and difficulties. But when we share these things, our burdens are less. And so, in the spirit of being a community of compassion and care, let's take time now to share the sorrows, struggles, and losses on our hearts. If you're on Zoom and have a sorrow or loss to share with us, please use the chat box. Trudy invites us to hold in our hearts Jimmy Carter, who is at home receiving hospice care. We pray for peace for him and his family. Evian shares that the forestry program at Kent High School may be ending. Only 3 out of 10 people signed up. More people need to participate. Rhonda is holding her friend Diane in her heart, whose husband Fred died suddenly while on the trip of a lifetime. We grieve with this family and with you, Rhonda. Mark also asks us to remember President Carter. Now let's pray for those who have died in Turkey and Syria due to the earthquake. Let's remember those who are without shelter, food, water, and life's basic needs. And let us hold in our hearts those who are working to help alleviate the suffering. Let us also hold in our hearts the victims of 71 mass shootings this year so far, including most recently in Maryland, Texas, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Michigan. With a moment of silence, let us grieve together and pray for these victims and every victim of violence, and for everyone who is grieving the loss of a loved one, especially because of gun violence. We hold in our hearts Randy, who tested positive for COVID yesterday. Send wishes for healing. We also send wishes for healing and are thinking of Elizabeth, who had surgery this last week and is home recovering. Thinking of you, Elizabeth. For the community, join me now in prayer with these words from the Reverend Sarah Lawal. Spirit of life and love, may we hear the cries of the world. May we be vessels of comfort and compassion. May we be vessels of hope and healing for those we've named this morning, those we hold in our hearts and minds, those in the world in need of our care and compassion. May we hear the voice within calling us to ask what's possible, to walk to the edge, to take a leap of faith into possibility and fullness of life, and dance with the infinite for a while. May we hear each other's voices of love and encouragement, and may we dare to offer that love and encouragement in return, helping each other become our most loving and full selves, and may love prevail. Our lives bring moments of joy, wonder, and awe. We've experienced times this week that have lifted our spirits. If you're attending via Zoom, you're welcome to share your joys using the chat box. One of the joys is that Hogwarts is happening this week, and an opportunity for young people to learn about our Unitarian Universalist values and experience some of life's magic. Thank you for everyone who supports that program and makes it possible twice a year. And Randy says, the good thing about being isolated is that I can practice retirement. And the Curris family shares that they're happy about returning to Hogwarts. We're glad you're participating. Emily in Germany says crocuses are blooming. Yeah, was that a little bit of jealousy in here? Spring will come, I promise. Emily also says, but don't worry, today is gray and rainy. Good day to stay in and be attending church. Now, with our hearts filled with gratitude for these blessings we've named and every blessing we experience in life, for the gift of our lives, for the companionship of each other on this journey, for the beauty of our world, and for today and all its possibilities, let us raise our hearts in gladness and together say, Amen. This is an excerpt from the poem Let America Be America Again by African-American poet Langston Hughes.
Let America be America again. Let it be the dream it used to be. Let it be the pioneer on the plain, seeking a home where he himself is free.
America never was America to me.
Let America be the dream the dreamers dreamed. Let it be that great strong land of love where never kings connive nor tyrants scheme, that any man be crushed by one above.
It never was America to me.
Oh, let my land be a land where liberty is crowned with no false patriotic wreath, but opportunity is real and life is free. Equality is the air we breathe.
There's never been equality for me, nor freedom in this homeland of the free.
Say, who are you that mumbles in the dark? And who are you that draws your veil across the stars?
I am the poor white, fooled and pushed apart. I am the Negro bearing slavery's scars.
I am the red man driven from the land. I am the immigrant clutching the hope I seek.
And finding only the same old stupid plan of dog eat dog, of mighty crush the weak.
I am the young man, full of strength and hope, tangled in that ancient endless chain of profit, power, gain, of grab the land, of grab the gold, of grab the ways of satisfying need, of work the men, of take the pay, of owing everything for one's own greed.
I am the farmer, bondsman to the soil. I am the worker sold to the machine. I am the Negro servant to you all. I am the people humble, hungry, mean. Hungry yet today despite the dream. Beaten yet today, oh pioneers. I am the man who never got ahead, the poorest worker bartered through the years.
Yet I'm the one who dreamt our basic dream in the old world while still a serf of kings, who dreamt a dream so strong, so brave, so true, that even yet its mighty daring sings in every brick and stone, in every furrow turned. That's made America the land it has become.
For all the dreams we've dreamed, and all the songs we've sung, and all the hopes we've held, and all the flags we've hung, the millions who have nothing for our pay, except the dream that's almost dead today.
Oh, let America be America again, the land that never has been yet, and yet must be, the land where every man is free, the land that's mine, the poor man's, Indians, Negroes, me.
Oh yes, I say it plain, America never was America to me, and yet I swear this oath, America will be. My Youngstown colleague Joseph and I were having lunch with another colleague last year, talking about the sorts of things ministers talk about when we're together. When Joseph said, "Stephen, I challenge you to come to Youngstown and preach about Malcolm X." Before I said yes, I wrestled with the challenges of this topic. Could I, as a privileged white man, preach with any authenticity about a black man who had some rather harsh things to say about white people? Would I be able to challenge all of us to lean into the discomfort of looking at the highly volatile issue of race from the perspective of a black man who advocated for black equality by any means necessary, including violence as a response to violence? I realized that I knew very little about Malcolm X, so I read his autobiography. It's the story of a man whose father was murdered by racists and whose mother was committed to an asylum, leaving Malcolm in the hands of a system that sent him to foster homes and reform school. Although he was one of the brightest students in school, his teachers shunned and discouraged him because of his skin color. In his autobiography, Malcolm tells the story of his English teacher, who, when Malcolm told him he wanted to be a lawyer, replied, "Malcolm, one of life's first needs is for us to be realistic. A lawyer, that's no realistic goal for a And the teacher used the N-word here. The teacher went on, "You need to think about something you can be. You're good with your hands, making things. Why don't you plan on carpentry?" The teacher had encouraged others in my class, all of them white, yet nearly none of them had earned marks equal to mine. Malcolm dropped out of school soon after that and got involved in criminal activities. In 1946, at the age of 21, he was sent to prison for a burglary conviction. While in prison, his spiritual evolution began. Malcolm encountered the teachings of Elijah Muhammad, the leader of the Nation of Islam, whose members are known as Black Muslims. The Nation of Islam advocated for black nationalism and racial separatism. Muhammad's teachings had a strong effect on Malcolm, who entered into an intense program of self-education. He changed his last name from Little to X to symbolize his stolen African identity. After Malcolm was released from prison, he became a minister of the Nation of Islam in Harlem, New York. He preached on the streets of Harlem and spoke at major universities such as Harvard and the University of Oxford. He expressed the pent-up anger, frustration, and bitterness of African Americans during the major phase of the civil rights movement from 1955 to 1965. He was both respected and feared. Unlike civil rights leaders such as Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X advocated self-defense and the liberation of African Americans by any means necessary. He said, "I am for violence if nonviolence means we continue postponing a solution to the American blacks' problem just to avoid violence. Our goal is to bring about the freedom of these people by any means necessary." That's our motto. We want freedom by any means necessary. We want justice by any means necessary. We want equality by any means necessary. Malcolm said in 1964, "I am a Muslim because it's a religion that teaches you an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. It teaches you to respect everyone and treat everyone right, but it also teaches you if someone steps on your toe, chop off their foot. And I carry my religious axe with me all the time." After being suspended from the Nation of Islam by Elijah Muhammad, Malcolm formally left the organization and went on his Muslim pilgrimage, the Hajj, to Mecca in April 1964, and it transformed him. He had previously spoken of white people as devils and an inferior race, but during the Hajj, he experienced white Muslims. He wrote, "There were tens of thousands of pilgrims from all over the world. They were of all colors, from blue-eyed blondes to black-skinned Africans. But we were all participating in the same ritual, displaying a spirit of unity that my experiences in America had led me to believe never could exist." He hadn't changed his views about the power and violence of racism, but his pilgrimage experience awakened him to the dignity of humankind and the truth of our shared humanity. He said, "Since I learned the truth in Mecca, my dearest friends have come to include all kinds: Christians, Jews, Buddhists, Hindus, agnostics, and even atheists. I have friends who are capitalists, socialists, and communists. Some of my friends are moderates, others are conservatives or extremists. My friends are black, brown, red, yellow, and white." His conversion to a deeper compassion and love of humanity led Malcolm to organize at a global level. Later he wrote, "I'm for truth, no matter who tells it. I'm for justice, no matter who it is for or against. I'm a human being first and foremost, and as such, I'm for whoever and whatever benefits humanity as a whole." He believed that every person should be free to live with dignity and freedom. When Malcolm returned to America, he founded the Organization of Afro-American Unity, which advocated for black identity and proclaimed that racism and white supremacy, not white people, were the greatest enemy of the African American. Malcolm X's new movement steadily gained followers and his more moderate philosophy became increasingly influential in the civil rights movement. His assassination in early 1965 silenced a brilliant mind that had contributed to the core ideas of the Black Power movement that emerged in the 1960s and 70s, as well as helping to change the terms used to refer to African Americans from Negro and colored to Black and Afro-American. His true genius was his ability to express in simple language the hell of being Black in this country. He was once asked about a debate with the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and in response he smiled and said that Dr. King would surely lose. Why? Because I'm not interested in dreams, he said, but in the nightmare. I am one of 22 million Blacks that are victims of Americanism. While King was having a dream, the rest of us are having a nightmare. Malcolm X was a prophetic voice. He held up to white America a spiritual mirror that reflected the truth of America's ugly, cruel history of building empire through the sweat, blood, and tears of the people it enslaved. This is referred to in the Nation of Islam's theology as returning the gaze. He didn't hesitate to name the sin of racism, the evil of white supremacy, and call out white America for its prosperity earned through slavery, the theft of land from the indigenous peoples, the oppression of the poor by the rich. We heard Langston Hughes name this reality so powerfully in the poem, Let America Be America Again. An America that never was and still is not America for people of color. For so many, the American dream is a lie. Nothing has really changed in the 57 years since Malcolm X was murdered. Yes, if he were alive today, he would have seen a Black president and the first Black female Supreme Court justice. He would see the Black Lives Matter movement, the Black music genres of hip and hop and rap, and Black people participating in every aspect of American life. But his gaze would reveal a country that still refuses to tell the truth of its past. An America that has not fulfilled its destiny. He would see mass incarceration of Black people and police brutality, drug epidemics and gun violence in poor communities of color. The Voting Rights Act gutted in ways that affect people of color most. He would see that white people in this country still enjoy far more benefits and privileges than people of color because of the racism and white supremacy embedded in our institutions and our culture. Even if you're poor and struggling, as some of you in this room are, if you're white, you still enjoy more privileges and freedom than a person of color. Our Unitarian Universalist faith calls us to look into the spiritual mirror that Malcolm X continues to hold up before us and to ask ourselves, if we're white, how do we benefit from racism and white supremacy? How will we use our privilege and our power, however much or little we may have, to make more justice, more equality, more freedom for people of color? How will you and I raise our own prophetic voices and work to end the racism, the violence, the white supremacy that continues to oppress people of color? In the spirit of Malcolm X, whom we remember this day, what will we each do to live out our first UU principle, to treat every person with respect and to honor their worth and dignity, and to help one another live fully? Let's take a few moments to reflect on these questions. We receive the many gifts that community in this spirit offers. Let us in return share our gifts so that this community continues to thrive in its work of worship, of social justice, of caring for one another. We work to help others in our community thrive by giving to agencies and organizations in Kent and beyond that serve those in need. Our February special offering is for the Portage County chapter of the NAACP. The NAACP's mission is to ensure the political, educational, social, and economic rights of all persons and to eliminate racial hatred and racial discrimination. In the spirit of gratitude for the gift of one another in this community and the abundance that makes generosity possible, let us now give and receive the offering as a sign of our shared commitment to the life and work of this community and beyond. Will the ushers please receive the offering?
I was born by the river in a little tent. Oh, and just like the river, I've been running ever since. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes, it will. It's been too hard living, but I'm afraid to die. 'Cause I don't know what's up there beyond the sky. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes, it will. I go to the movie and I go downtown. Somebody keep telling me don't hang around. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gon' come. Oh, yes, it will. Then I go to my brother and I said, brother, help me please. But he winds up knocking me back down on my knees. Oh, there've been times that I thought I couldn't last for long, but now I think I'm able to carry on. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gon' come. Oh, yes, it will. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gon' come. Oh, yes, it will.
Lydia. It's time to return to the world and bring about that change for justice, for equality. Now, to do that, would you join me in extinguishing our chalice? We extinguish this flame but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. May we carry these in our hearts and minds until we are together again. And now I invite you to rise and join in singing, "Come and Go With Me to That Land." I have two very brief announcements. Our high school youth group, UU Youth for Justice, are heading to Washington, D.C. in June for a week-long immersion experience serving others. Today and the next few Sundays, they'll be selling stock certificates and are asking you to invest in this transformative experience for them. The environmental justice team cordially invites you to join them after the service in Hobbs Hall to watch a video of a speech by Greta Thunberg and to learn what you can do to voice your opinion about fracking in Ohio. Now, these are the words of actor Ossie Davis from his eulogy at Malcolm X's funeral. Here at this final hour, Harlem has come to bid farewell to one of its brightest hopes, extinguished now and gone from us forever. Many will ask what Harlem finds to honor in this stormy, controversial, and bold young captain, and we will smile. We will answer and say to them, did you ever talk to Brother Malcolm? Did you ever really listen to him? For if you did, you would know him. And if you knew him, you would know why we must honor him. And now, inspired by the story of Malcolm X and renewed in our commitment to act with love as we work for the beloved community, let us go forth to inspire love, work for justice, and grow together in community. May it be so. Blessed be. Amen. And I see the spark of freedom in you.